we're going to conduct the assignment session from the instructor and the student point of view. From the instructor view, you'll see how to create and add an assignment, how to associate it with the grade book, how to grade an online assignment, and how to distribute the assignment to the student. Heather is going to be the student in this demonstration, and she'll demonstrate uploading and submitting her assignment, reviewing the grade that she receives, and possibly resubmitting her assignment for grading if necessary. So once we've gone through the two brief demos, we'll open it up for our whole group discussion. And in the meantime, if you could type your questions in chat, that would be helpful so that we can jump right into those questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to share the Sakai course site screen. So give me just a minute. Yes, this is a test course that we have signed up. We have established for this Sakai demonstration. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, I have assignments enabled. If you don't see assignments in your own site, you're going to have to go into Site Info, Manage Tools. This would have been disabled. You click on the tool to enable it, and this is also where you enable multiple other tools that you'd like to use as well. But for this session, we're going to focus on assignments. So let me demonstrate quickly how to create an assignment in Sakai. I'm going to click on Add. The title is required, so I'm going to call this Assignment 1. Let's say it's a reflection essay. Instructions are required. I have some instructions I could type in, or I already have some right here that I'll copy and paste. So you'll see that I'm asking the students to respond to these two prompts. And in the instructions, I've asked them to, they're going to be replying in line, and I'll get to that in just a second. I'm going to add the honor pledge. It's not required, but it's an option for you. Now, I'm going to set the availability. I don't have an attachment I'm including. I have the instructions right here. But, you know, if I were creating an assignment that I asked them to, you know, look at the attached article and include that and include reflections on that in their response, I could attach a PDF here. Now I'm going to set the availability, and I can set an open date. So we will open it right now. The due date, I'll make it due April 2nd. Now I have an accept until date. In this case, I'm going to accept the assignment a day late because if some students have some, you know, issues with connecting or so on, I want to give them that option to still get their assignment in. I'm not clicking the use visible date. So if I had clicked that date, the students will see the date that I'm indicating as an open date. If, for example, this assignment was going to open, say, next week, and I clicked use visible date, it would not show up on the student's list until it's visibly opening. So that's an option that you can set. You can send a reminder email 24 hours before the due date. I find that helpful. I won't set it for this example because it's going to email those who are registered in the site. You can also display to site or display to groups. If you have groups set up in your course, you can set this up so the assignment is only displaying to those selected groups. Then the submission type. I'm going to say inline only, which means they're going to respond, and you'll see this once Heather demonstrates it, inline and in that dialog box. I can send notifications for student submissions. I can send for each student submission and one per day. You know, you can really, if you click on some of these options, you can put yourself in for a lot of email. So I'm trying to be judicious and careful with the options that I'm selecting. And I'm going to do a point scale. Now, the letter grades actually do not go to the grade book. You have to have points. So I'm going to say this is worth 100 points. I can add it to the grade book. I can associate it with an existing gradebook item. If you have your gradebook set up in advance, that's an option. For right now, I'll just do add assignment to gradebook. There's also a more advanced option to generate rubrics and or use some rubrics that are available in Sakai, but for this assignment, we're not using rubrics for this assignment. And I'm not going to send a notification to the student. Other additional assignment options, we're not doing groups, you know, peer assessment is available if you were going to enable that at some point, and I can send you some information on that after the session. So I'm going to post this. Before I do, Heather, are you ready to submit? Okay. So before I switch it over to Heather, I wanted to mention, you'll notice I created the assignment. In my instructor view, I am looking at the assignments list view. Real quickly, if I felt I needed to go back in and edit that assignment, this is where I would click and I could go in and I could edit any of these assignment components. I could also duplicate the assignment. I'm going to do that now because I want to demo real briefly or let you know that if I wanted to delete this assignment, you know, this is where I would remove it. There is to the far right, there's the remove option. So I'm going to remove this draft. And it prompts me, am I sure I want to delete? Okay, I'm now going to transition over, stop sharing my screen, and let Heather take over.
Thank you, Sophia. I am going to go share my screen and we'll work through the student submission end of things. Okay, here I am a student looking at my screen. Since I'm not actually a Duke student, I'm pretending to be one, and that's what the magenta line up here means. So I go to assignments, and I see that there is a new assignment here that I should probably be working on. I read and agree with the Duke Community Standard, and then I see here directions and, oh, I can't resubmit this. Better get it right the first time. Assignment 1, reflection, instructions, prompt. Okay, I have to put submissions into the text box below. You know, if I spend 3 hours typing the perfect submission and then my computer glitches, it's gone. So if you decide to go this way, I'd strongly recommend that you suggest your students type and wordsmith everything in a Word doc, a Google Doc, something else, then cut and paste it in here. And I'm going to take my perhaps not entirely fabulous submission and do exactly that. So I put it in there, I submit, and I will await the grade from Sophia. Now I'm going to stop sharing and let Sophia take her next steps.
So this is my wonderful inline assignment. I've reviewed everything. Excellent. I'm going to give you 100 points on this. Comments, great work. And I'm going to now release this to you. No need to resubmit. And let me go back to my list.
Okay, now let's have a look at what the student will see next. So let me go here and refresh. Hey, it's returned, yay. So I'm going to go in here and I got a 100, as is right and proper for an enthusiastic Duke student. And I see the grade, I look at the instructor's comments, and I go on to the next thing feeling good about myself. So I will stop sharing and we'll go on to another sort of assignment.
I'm going to click on Add. I'm going to ask in this assignment for students to upload a single file. So in this case, I have an essay assignment. The essay. And I have instructions for them here. So let me copy and just paste these. So they're going to write an argumentative essay on some aspect of media. The requirements are there and the directions are upload your essay as a Word document. So I'm suggesting this because what I'm planning to do as an instructor is grade these essays. I'm going to ask them to enable track changes and I'll review the essays. And I could even then submit this with an option for them to resubmit once they've taken a look at my feedback. I'm going to add the honor pledge. I will leave use visible date. We'll keep the same open due date and accept until date. I'll disable send a reminder email, although in most cases I do like to use that. However, if a student is reading the reminder email 24 hours before the essay paper is due, that's not a good sign. I'll display this to the site. Submission type here, this is where I'm going to say single uploaded file only. I'm going to allow resubmission. I will give them just one opportunity. You'll see there are more opportunities and you could even allow unlimited. I would set the accept resubmission date until, I'll just leave it to April 2nd for now. Students, if I release submission and set this notification email, the students would receive an email once the grade is released and resubmission is available. I'm not going to send that in this case. I do tend to set this though when I'm actually using the assignments.
Assignment 2, the essay. So I agree to the Duke Community Standard again. I read the directions oh so carefully. I have already typed up my essay because I'm that kind of proactive student. So I go in here, I choose the file. And I submit it. And it is now Sophia's problem.
So I'm going to share my screen. Here I'm back in Sakai. I'll do a refresh. I see Heather has submitted her assignment. So here's Heather's assignment. What I could do is launch this and, save it and offer the track changes. I'm not going to grade this right now because I'm going to send this for resubmission. Of course, I would add far more positive and encouraging feedback in a normal session, but to move this along. So I'm going to save and release to student. You'll see allow resubmission and an accept until date. I'm going to return back to my screen and stop sharing.
Okay, I'm going to go and see if I have any sort of response on the essay I submitted. Okay, it's been returned. Yay, let's check it out.
And it says resubmit at the top.
Oh no, please redo the assignment. Ah. Okay, so I would expect to get a document back from my instructor. I have to modify the submission. So I've downloaded that. I will choose one, open that up, and now I can resubmit. So that keeps students from just turning around the same thing without doing any work on it. And I will stop sharing and hand you back to Sophia.
These were two examples of, creating an assignment, resubmitting or not resubmitting one. One assignment reflection had the inline option where the students responding back in that text box. The other one allowed an upload of assignments. As well, if you're going to have many assignments that are uploaded and you want to download them and grade them offline, that's also an option as well. For multiple student submissions, you could click, there's a download all option. It downloads the documents as a zip file, and then you can grade them offline and upload them.